Welcome to Cocktails and Questions with Candidates, a series from the Tennessee Democratic Party where we talk with candidates across the state of Tennessee to find out who they are, what they stand for, and how we can help them win.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cocktails and Questions with Candidates. I'm Mary Mancini, your Tennessee Democratic Party chair. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Thursday, September 3rd. Wow, this fall is going by fast, and Election Day is going to be here before we know it. I am here today with Torrey Harris. Torrey is running for Tennessee State House in District 90. Torrey, welcome to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, how is everybody doing? Right? Like, how are all your loved ones during this crazy and unusual time? Is everybody staying safe and healthy?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. I just sent my mom was talking to me earlier, and I sent her through Costco a brand new box of masks because they were like, oh, we need some more masks. We need some more gloves. We need some Lysol. So apparently they're trying to stay safe as possible. So I just want to make sure that they are. But yeah, so for me, of course, I survived testing positive for COVID-19 some months ago. So we're not 100%. Oh, wow. And I'm encouraging everyone to make sure that they wear masks and wash their hands and, just continue working towards helping to stop the spread. And I was also talking to her about, my niece. She's 7 years old now, and she's new to this whole virtual learning, but she seems to know it a little bit better than my mom. So I think everybody's doing pretty well.
Oh, wow. Good. I'm so glad to hear that, and glad that you have recovered. What were your symptoms like when you had COVID?
So, of course, everybody's symptoms are much different, and I had it kind of towards the beginning. So the fever, I had a fever for multiple days, body aches, just every single thing that they say that you will have, you will definitely have. It's definitely way worse than the flu to me. So yeah.
Oh, well, so glad that you recovered and that you're back on the campaign trail, as that is. We'll talk about that for sure. So do you have a cocktail with you today?
Hey, I actually do.
Are you drinking any?
Yeah.
What you drinking?
So I'm drinking Jameson and Sprite. It's one of my favorite, actually. Nothing too crazy, but I'm not a fan of the sweet cocktails, but definitely Jameson and Sprite.
Oh, that sounds delicious and very refreshing.
What's in your cup over there?
Water. I'm sorry, I'm not playing today. Yeah. I drove to the office to do this today, so I'm not going to drink today, but we'll see about next week. Sorry, I'm not joining you. Really sorry, I'm not joining you.
I know, right?
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Torrey, about your upbringing, where you're from.
Okay.
And just anything you want folks to know.
Yeah. So I'm originally from South Arkansas, home of Bill Clinton. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, along with my brother and my sister. I worked in corporate world, and I ended up deciding to make Memphis my home almost 10 years ago. I always joke and say that I moved to Memphis for the barbecue, but really I ended up moving to Memphis just to further my career. It's definitely home to so many historical turning points. I love Memphis. It's rich in its culture. And so it's just where I saw myself being rooted, and one day raising a family is not too far from home. Memphis is definitely very welcoming. You can move here with little of nothing and try to better yourself here and really get involved in the community. So I really just enjoy it. I love Memphis, and that's just who I am now. A country boy from Arkansas that is now in Memphis.
Well, so how did you get from that from where you were born to Memphis, and then running for office in Memphis to represent the citizens of District 90? Why are you running?
Yeah, so I ended up moving from Arkansas to Memphis through relocation. I used to work for corporate retail, and in corporate retail, there's always changes or whatnot, but they promoted me to do something larger here in Memphis. And I came here, did that project, and then I ended up going into the nonprofit world, where I worked in HIV and AIDS for a while. I am now in government and obviously running for office. This is not my first time running. This is definitely the second time. I ran in 2018. And so definitely want to see better for our district. I've been in this area for a long time now, again, almost 10 years. So definitely really wanted to see better for our district. We deserve it. And so, yeah, that's where I am now. District 90 is pretty large for those who are watching this and don't know. It covers Midtown Memphis, parts of North Memphis, South Memphis, and Frazier. I dare to say it's definitely one of the most diverse districts in the state. And I'm proud to be a District 90 resident. And equally so, I'm proud that most of my time has resided right here in this district. For some parts of District 90, it's easy for residents to live and work and play, but not for everyone. Equity is something that I'm actively pushing for in District 90. That's a large reason why I'm running, not only for accesses for everyone in their daily lives, but also in education, in jobs, and in our healthcare. So if there's anyone out there that's looking to move from out of state or in state to Memphis, definitely contact me and let me know. I'd love to show you around this great area right here.
Oh, that's a great offer. And by the way, while you're visiting me, help me campaign, right?
Absolutely. Come out. Let's knock on some doors together. Yeah, make some phone calls.
Yeah. So what is that like? And I want to talk to you about issues too that are important to you and your district and what you might be most excited to tackle. But tell us about campaigning. And like you said, you ran before in 2018. You worked really hard. You were a candidate that really embraced the idea of direct voter contact making all the difference. So how do you adjust? Yeah. How do you adjust?
Just over the time, I ran in 2018 and I learned a lot about the district, things that I didn't necessarily know that was going on in the district, obviously through voter contact. But then I turned around and after losing that race against the incumbent, I ended up running again this time and I got almost 60% of the votes. But we have to be real. We haven't really had representation in this district for years, for 26 years in District 90. And, we've had a figurehead, but we haven't had real representation. For myself and all the other residents here in this district, we deserve to have leadership that we can really depend on. So, and I pride myself on listening and empowering and serving not just some, but everyone in the district. And so that's why I'm running. I'm running to be a champion that people can look forward to speaking to or finding and getting in contact with, who can help them with their issues, who actually has some of the same issues they have. We really do deserve representation that believes that, women are responsible enough to make their own decisions for their bodies, that won't work to actively suppress free speech, and somebody who will just fight to fund our public schools. District 90 really deserves to have that leadership. And so that's a lot of the reason why I'm running. I ran in 2018 and I did lose by a small number. And I chose to run again this year. And in the primary, we won big. So we're just preparing and we're ready to, win this election in November. There's a lot of issues that are going on right here in our community that we really need to focus on. I have a sister with health issues, major health issues. And because of, because of what's going on in healthcare, she didn't have the insurance that she needed. So expanding Medicaid across this entire state, that's important. I can't say it enough. Expanding Medicaid. I could stop there, but no, that's just the beginning of what we need. We need fully funded public schools. We can halfway do it if we want to. Public schools, and if we really believe that our children are the future, then we have to prove it by investing in our public education system 100%. So those are some of the things that I just really care about.
And you mentioned real representation several times, and I don't think it's any secret to the folks that folks that live in District 90 and in, a large part of Shelby County, that, your opponent, who is now running as an independent, not as a Democrat, is someone who has not always represented the values and the issues that you have expressed here. So let's unpack that just a little bit further, so people know what exactly is going on, right? So in terms of the issues of education, public education, right? Talk about the differences between you and your opponent's stance on public education a little bit. Expound on that.
Yeah. So, for me, and I'm going to say this just in case he's watching or somebody's watching, Black man to Black man, I'm extremely disappointed. We owe it to ourselves and to our ancestors that he talks about so much and fought for, to provide for those we represent. We deserve great leadership, and we need that great leadership. I applaud him for, stepping up to the plate those years and years ago. But, the time now is that we need progressive leadership. Someone that's going to push bold changes, not right now, respectfully. I think that we do differ when it comes to education. He is a huge supporter and has been a supporter for many years of vouchers. As somebody, both of us coming from public education, at some point, you would think that he would want to see all children get the same equal education across the board, but he doesn't. He has definitely fought hard against public education. It's very, very visible. He works with people like Betsy DeVos and Tennessee Federation of Children to, go against public education the best way he possibly can. He feels like he got a one-up this year when he made his horrible vote, which made the final decision, a lot of the decision on what vouchers will look like in our state. And so, DeBerry has made his choice when it comes to vouchers, but I'm going to fully support public education. And that does not say that I'm not going to support vouchers or I'm not going to support other avenues for education. But what it says is that until we fully take care of our public education, there's no reason for us to be taking funding and putting it elsewhere. That's just my belief, and that's what I'm sticking with. And I've been with that even before. Actually, it's part of the reason why I initially ran for office. When I first decided to run, he had stood up during a committee meeting and said that our children are the most irreparable, basically know-nothing, immortal, sick children. And I just think that was wrong, and it should have been not said. If that's how you think about children, then it's time for you to go. We all know he's out. We just need to make sure everybody gets to the polls to vote.
Exactly. And speaking of 40 days until early voting starts, it's only 40 until October 14th, and then 61 days until Election Day. So it's coming up fast and furious upon us. If people want to support you, if they want to read more about your issues, and please donate as well. This is a campaign that, like you said, you're running against an incumbent and who doesn't represent Democratic Party values at all. As a matter of fact, abandoned the Democratic caucus and voted for the voucher bill, like you said. Go to TorreyHarris.com, and Torrey is TorreyHarris. So besides education, what might be another issue that you're most excited to tackle when you get to the state ledge?
I mean, there are a ton of different issues that I would love to tackle. Of course, outside of education, we definitely have to push for the expansion of Medicaid. I mentioned that earlier, but criminal justice is going to be a huge one for me. And I talk about it all the time, but I work in HR. I work in HR. And so I see people and I know people over the years who have been hurt by being pulled over. We have Black men and Black women who get pulled over because they don't have a license, and then they end up having to go to court or go to jail, and they have to pay a cash bail. So the elimination of cash bail is going to be something I'm going to fight for definitely 100%. And there's so many different issues that I could talk about, but those are some of the main points that I look to, work on across the aisle and with those who are in Democrats right now. We will make some changes, and I look forward to doing that when elected.
Well, you touched on a very important topic. Our country is going through a real racial reckoning right now, and the late great James Baldwin said that to be Black and conscious in America is to be, quote, to be in a rage almost all of the time. Yeah. As a socially aware Black man, what emotions do you feel regarding what's happening in America right now? Yeah. And the impact that it is having in your district and in Shelby County?
Exactly. So outside of just my district, I just came back from DC from the March on Washington and got an opportunity to really see the hurt and the emotion from so many different people that we see in the limelight right now, people from Trayvon Martin's mom to Al Sharpton. Got to meet so many different wonderful individuals and just really talk about the racial inequities that are going on right here in our country, right here in our state alone. And we oftentimes we hear that change is coming, right? And many people are tired of just waiting. I wish I could say the change is here, but there's still so much work that has to be done. And as a Black man in America, I get the unfortunate and discomfort of waking up and moving about every single day as if it could be my last, whether it means being judged by the way I dress, the way I speak, my height. I'm always being judged. And that comes with being Black as well in color. That's not how I want myself or those around me to live for the rest of our lives. We really do deserve to, just wake up in a world where we don't have to work twice as hard to be half as good. We deserve to wake up in a world which our culture is appreciated and not appropriated. But it's a fight, and we have to commit to staying in that fight until we see and know the changes are where they should be.
You must have had just an amazing experience in DC.
Oh yeah, my experience
last weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like I'm so glad that you got the opportunity to go. It looked like an amazing event with so many people coming. Again, thank you for representing Tennessee and hopefully the House District 90. Again, if you'd like to help Torrey out, go to torreyharris.com. That's TORREY Harris.com, and there you can learn more about the issues that he supports, as well as to support monetarily. Elections cost money, really and then also volunteer as well. Yeah, and volunteer too.
Yeah, we definitely love volunteers. Anytime we can get people on phones or people on doors or people doing postcards, we could really use all the help we can get. So anybody who's willing to, jump out there and help us out, definitely do so. We have to make sure that Democrats get elected all the way down the ticket, up and down. So anything that you all can do to help is great. Definitely, like she said, Torrey Harris, TORREY Harris.com. You can learn more about our race as well as donate.
So you're a member of the historic Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. You have a fraternity brother in the Georgia Senate, Raphael Warnock. Kamala Harris is in Alpha Kappa Alpha. What role do you believe that Alpha Phi Alpha and the Divine Nine should play in elevating Black candidates and advancing Black issues? Yeah,
so these you named some great people to look forward to. But fraternities have fraternities, and sororities. I'm in one. We have to play a pivotal one. We have large amounts of members in each one of our organizations. And so there's thousands of people that are going to have an opportunity to wake up and go out and vote all over the world, but especially in the South. Fraternities and sororities are the cornerstone for many who are, civically engaged. Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha, the remaining Divine Nine Greek letter organizations are rooted in service and believe in voting. That's why over the years, you've seen a variety of voter registration and engagement issues come out, from these organizations. And so definitely keep a lookout. You'll definitely see a lot of these organizations with themed voter events, from trips to the polls and other forms of support for candidates throughout Tennessee, and especially right here in Memphis. So we're going to be out there in large numbers.
Voting and volunteering and giving.
Yeah.
It's so important. So we're going to take a little bit of a pivot here and talk about the current pandemic, which you have personal experience with. Luckily, you recovered, but it's apparent that the Republican supermajority really fumbled Tennessee's response. We are still one of the states in the top 5 with the most cases, and they're rising, not going the other way as a lot of other states are. So what are some of the things the legislators should have prioritized prior to not just ending session, but also in the special session that they just finished?
So I think the best way to answer, and I think this is pretty simple. This is a straightforward answer and question. The people. They should have prioritized the people. Prioritizing the people would have meant not passing legislation in the middle of the night. Prioritizing people would have been giving teachers raises, taking care of individuals who are, essential employees, and making sure that there was hazard pay. Prioritizing people would have looked like education for our children and throughout the state. Prioritizing people would have meant expanding Medicaid and quickly responding to, pandemic relief, so that Tennesseans would have very little to worry about, a lot less to worry about at least. So to me, the answer would have been prioritizing people. I don't think that our legislators did a great job in that aspect of making sure that they took care of us before they went out on session. That's my answer to that, is making sure that we took care of the people.
Yeah, and it was really so apparent when they went back into special session too, because which was frustrating for the Democratic caucus up there, right? And I know that when you are elected, this kind of thing will probably be a little bit frustrating to you. But you think if they would go back into special session, it would be about, like you said, prioritizing people instead of absolving corporations from any liability that they might have in bringing people back to work, and criminalizing, making it a felony for someone to camp out on what is public property in a legislative plaza. So it really is just quite unbelievable, just how, like you said, like they are so not prioritizing people, and and the relationship between corporations and businesses and employees should be one of partnership. Not putting one above the other. And the Republican supermajority has done nothing for the last 10 years except treat workers as if they are disposable. So can't wait to get you up there. Strength in numbers. More Democrats.
Exactly. More Democrats.
It's going to be awesome.
More people actually working for people, and just true leadership. So absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so TorreyHarris.com again. Campaigns need volunteers. They need you to be, work for Torrey and be a good steward of his policy decisions and talk about him as a candidate. They need your treasure. Torrey, I know, running a great campaign, working really hard, and could use your donations. So TorreyHarris.com, TORREY Harris.com. You will be investing in a great legislator and the future of the Tennessee Democratic Party. So please give as much as you can. Absolutely. So is there any issue that you're passionate about that you may feel that isn't as well known as some of the ones you've talked about, Medicaid expansion and healthcare and education, and of course the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. But is there any other issue that you're passionate about that you feel isn't as well known and should be?
Well, again, like I was saying earlier, I definitely believe that there's a passion for a lot of different issues. Everybody has their focal areas. I live in a district where we're extremely, extremely diverse. We have a lot of religious leaders and churches in our area. We're home to two of the largest in the state reproductive health organizations. But one of the things and one of the issues and areas I think that we don't necessarily give a lot of focus to would be equality in the LGBT community, especially those who are, our trans brothers and sisters in our neighborhoods, and definitely one that we don't give attention to. We just kind of go to it and run from it. We do a disservice in this state when we try to, restrict library availability to those celebrating their pride. We do a disservice when we ban our children from playing sports activities because of who they are. We waste money in this state thinking that conversion therapy is okay. I work in HR, and I used to work in HIV and AIDS prevention and care in nonprofit world. So I believe heavily in fair fight for everyone. I promise to commit to that fight for everyone, regardless of their race, their gender, their sex, or orientation. And that includes those in the Black community, those in the LGBT community and trans community, and anyone who has felt left out of the plan in the past. So that's one of the things that I believe that we run from or shy away from is the issues of making sure that everybody has fair treatment, regardless of who they are.
100%. And again, it's so necessary to have more voices and representation at the legislative level that believe that and are working for that, because the Republican supermajority has done a really great job of using our differences to divide us and making people and not be, not showing leadership and bringing people together, but by, evoking fear and exacerbating fear and dividing people. One of the big things that they keep trying to push is a transgender bathroom bill.
Yeah.
And the argument is so simple, right? The danger is not from someone to choosing to use the bathroom that best matches their person, their identity, their personal identity. It comes from like a predator, right? Who preys on those who are weaker than they are. And that's a very simple message that can be conveyed to the Republican supermajority's constituencies. And yet, instead of doing that, they use it to their advantage. And so to have another voice who believes that and who's going to stand strong for that, Torrey, is exactly what we need. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So much for that. You have an exciting race on your hands.
I do.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any questions from the group. As someone who has experience with COVID, the idea of pushing people to vote early during early voting is something that I'm sure resonates with you.
Absolutely. Yes, I definitely believe that we should be pushing for early voting for sure. Everybody needs to go vote early as possible. Actually, we won our primary in early voting because people actually got up and went to make their voices heard early. So don't wait till the last minute. Make sure you try to vote during early voting if you possibly can. Vote
early during early voting. Wear a mask. It's the same thing as when you choose to go to a grocery store. You're going to choose to go when you think that there are the fewest amount of people around, and you mask up and you have your hand sanitizer. And I will let you have the last word. Thank you so much for joining us. What would you like to say to folks to sign us off?
Yeah. So again, I'm Torrey Harris, and I am your Democratic nominee for Tennessee House of Representatives, District 90, and look forward to getting to know more and more people throughout this process. If you have any questions, I love to sit down and actually talk with people. We can social distance, we can talk over the phone, but we can make it happen. I want to make sure that everybody knows who they're voting for, what they're voting for, and just have an opportunity to truly get out to the polls. Of course, like it was said earlier, October 14th through the 29th is early voting, and that's going to be a pivotal time. Please try to get out and vote Democrat up and down the ballot. We have to win all the way across the board. Make sure you go and vote for president. Make sure you vote for U.S. Senate, Congress. Make sure you vote for whatever else is going on your ballot. But make sure you definitely vote for Tennessee House Representatives District 90 if it shows on your ballot for sure, and vote Torrey Harris. We look forward to speaking with more and more people through this process. We still have quite a ways. It'll move by fast, but we're going to knock on as many doors as possible. We're going to communicate and talk to every single person we possibly can. Absolutely. And work with other organizations along the way as we make this happen. And yeah, just enjoy. Y'all have fun. Enjoy your Thursday.
Torrey, thank you so much for joining us. And I appreciate you stepping up and running. Again, it's so important, and we appreciate you very much. So
thank you.
Good luck. Remember, TorreyHarris.com, TorreyHarris. He needs your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Absolutely.
See you next week. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about the show at tndp.org/podcast. Follow us on Instagram at TENN Democratic Party and on Twitter at TNDP. This show is distributed by We Own This Town. And don't forget to check to make sure you're still registered to vote at sos.tn.gov. If you're not registered, you can go there and do that too. So do it.
And if you don't know, now you know.